It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
One just has to pick up a magazine or turn on a television to see that as women, we are bombarded daily with media images of female physical perfection, setting up the most unrealistic of expectations as to how we should look. No wonder female body confidence is falling while incidents of eating disorders are on the rise. What's most alarming is the way that this affects young girls. A reduced sense of self-worth can create anxiety, stress, even depression, causing relationship issues while potentially impairing academic and job performance. In direct contrast, my podcast, Confidence in Bloom, is designed to reinforce the truth and reassure every woman who has ever felt inadequate, unworthy, or tossed aside because of how she looks that no matter her age, shape, or background, you matter. You are enough now. I, Tina Spolatini, a woman of substance, insist women deserve to be happy, confident, successful, and totally in love with themselves in their own bodies just the way they are. Through an ongoing series of intriguing conversations with women from all walks of life who are all extraordinary in their own right, we will embark upon a journey of ultimate self-acceptance and empowerment. Together we'll share the stories, laugh, learn, maybe even shed a few tears when it becomes clear just how far many women have come to realize how wonderful life is when you stand in your own power, feeling fantastic in your own skin. Zira Mahoon is my guest today. Zira Mahoon's mission is to guide others to stop making the mistakes that are preventing them from their success and ultimate joy by teaching them the power of the law of attraction based on her signature heart and mind alignment method. She is the author of 19 books on these subjects and the creator of the unlimited 40-day Law of Attraction workbook and support group. Zira's courses and programs help individuals to identify the blockages that are keeping them from loving themselves and regaining their self-worth so they can achieve success and start living on their own terms, from possibility to probability to certainty. Welcome, Zira.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to talk about law of attraction and how it affects the everyday life. Can you maybe tell our listeners what the law of attraction is?
Wow. That could take a while. But law of attraction, basically what it is the power of positive thinking. It is about focusing on what you want as opposed to focusing on what you don't want. Because the science of energy, physics basically, has the information that we need in order to understand how our thoughts move energy and things come to pass. We manifest things that we focus on, not necessarily the things that we want. Intention, what we intend is different from what we give attention to. What comes to pass is what we give attention to, not what we intend. And law of attraction is the body of knowledge that teaches us, first of all, why things happened in our past the way they happened. Number two, how to change our thoughts so that we can actually start getting what we want, what we intend, and changing our belief systems so that we start feeling at peace, so that we feel that we have control over our lives. Because these days, so many people feel like we don't have any control over our lives. And that is not true. We can gain control over our lives if we practice the law of attraction the way it is meant to be practiced.
So it's
Does
not
that answer
like,
your question?
I think so. It's not really like a lifestyle or a belief system. It's really more of like a mindset and an action to take, right?
It is many things, but primarily it is about how do you think your thoughts so that you generate the energy that you need to generate so that you can take action towards what you want. Action is very much part of law of attraction. But what law of attraction says is you waste all that energy that you expend in taking action if you don't first prepare for the action that you want to take. Because negative thinking makes the same action a lot harder than if you prepared yourself for taking action. That's the difference.
Okay, so if I
Does
want
that make sense?
I think so. So if I say that I want, by the end of 2024, I want to have, let's say, $10,000 saved in my account. That's not a big amount of money, right? So
No.
You're saying that, I can have that $10,000, but what's going to get me the $10,000 is my mind, how I focus on it, and the actions I take, as long as they're all in like a positive direction.
Yes. So what happens is we talk ourselves out of the $10,000 by saying things like, it can't happen for me. I don't know how to do that. Other people are lucky, and that's why they have it. I don't have any skills, or I can't manufacture this money. And those are all negative thoughts. So negative thoughts block the ideas that you could utilize based on who you are and the skill sets you have and whatever else is going on in your life. There is a way for you to have those $10,000, but you close all the doors by saying it's not possible. So then those ideas cannot come to you.
Okay, yeah, okay, so that's cool. That's the way that works. Now let's talk about something maybe more everyday and more minor. For example, when I go to a mall, I can spend, 2 or 3 hours walking around a mall. But when I go to a mall, I want to park my car at an entrance of the mall, right? I don't want to walk to the parking lot. I want to walk to the mall. So in my head, before I get to the mall, I tell myself I'm going to park at the door, at the entrance of the mall. And quite often, I will get myself a park at the door. Is that law of attraction? Oh, that's how that
absolutely.
works. Okay.
Because you see, here's what you did. You paid attention to your intention. Your intention was to get a spot near the door. And that's what you focused on. That's what you gave your attention to. What people do is they have the same intention, the intention to find a good parking place, but then they talk themselves out of it by saying things like, oh, it's going to be too crowded. That's never happened to me. It's not likely. And so energetically speaking, now they've created blockages that will prevent them or make it harder for them to find that same parking spot that is easy for you to find.
Okay, so that would work.
The difference between
like
that's
like
everything.
door prizes and everything. Okay, I love that.
Everything.
That's kind of cool.
Things on sale. Things on sale. Like I like to say before I go shopping, I like to say, wouldn't it be nice if I got everything on my list and I got them at better prices?
Right.
So it's an everyday thing. So
oh my goodness. This is really cool.
Yeah, it is. And from that point of view, it is a lifestyle because you do that for every single thing. Because you get addicted to being good at using it and getting what you want. So it then does become a lifestyle because you do everything. This is what I've learned. honestly, I've learned the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
I like that saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing it down. The way you do one thing
is the way you do everything.
The way you do one thing,
if
you do everything. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's a habit, right? Positive thinking is a habit. Negative thinking is a habit. So you just become a positive thinker. It becomes something you do all the time with everything. So let me give you another example. For example, somebody is rude to me. I'm going to brush it off and say, oh, maybe they're having a bad day, because I have a habit of thinking positively about everything. It's a habit. I'm going to say, oh, it's a one-off. So that's positive thinking. But I could take it to heart. I could say, oh my God, why did they do that? And I haven't done anything to deserve that. That's negative thinking. We don't realize that because we make it about being right or wrong. And law of attraction is not about being right or wrong. Law of attraction is about sending out the right vibration into the universe, the right signal.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about, it's not right or wrong. It's about what you want or what you need, right? It's not really about
the perspective.
What's right, what's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's perspective, because what's right and wrong, it depends on perspective. So I control my perspective. I control what I give my attention to. And this is why I started by saying law of attraction is about closing the gap between your intention and your attention. When you give attention to your intention, then everything works out. What happens to us is that we inadvertently pay attention to the opposite of what we intend. And then we end up not getting what we want.
Right. Because we're working towards this, but in our steps towards that, we're also telling ourselves that we either don't deserve it, or it's too hard to reach, or it's too much work to get there, or I don't have the capability. Yeah, I get that. Yes. And I've learned that about myself over the years. So maybe I'm, slowly kind of using the law of attraction without, like actually saying I use law of attraction.
Well, exactly. I mean, law of attraction is just a new verbiage. It's a new terminology for something that has always been there and has always been taught and has always been practiced. This is just a new term. Like we change the way we refer to things. Things change, and the terminology that we use is different. Like a car, an automobile used to be called a horseless carriage when it was first developed. And we still have automobiles, but we don't call them horseless carriages anymore. So Norman Vincent Peale was teaching law of attraction. Dr. Wayne Dyer was teaching law of attraction. Napoleon Hill was teaching it. Neville Goddard was teaching it. So many people in our history have been teaching it. What's it called? I slipped my mind. But everyone has been teaching it, just calling it different things. So we don't go around calling it's just a new terminology, but it's always been there.
Right. Okay, so how do you, or when a client comes to you and says, Zira, I'm really looking for, I want to change my job, but I don't know how to go about doing that. How can you help me?
See, here's the thing. What appears to be the problem on the surface is never the real problem. Let me say that again. The problem on the surface is never the real problem. The real problem is something different, but you're verbalizing it because we always need something to connect it to. We make a decision, then we justify it, you see? And that justification, what happens when you justify a decision that you made is that you find reasons why you did it. And those reasons are never really the real reason. The real reason has to do with your very deep-seated belief systems that you don't even know exist. It has to do with your self-worth and how you perceive the world and what you've been telling yourself over a period of time. So often people come to law of attraction because they need to solve a problem, but it's not a problem that needs to be solved. It requires more work because I'm going to use something that my mother used to say. She always said this: a bad apple spoils the whole bushel. And how I see that is, you have one thing that's not working in your life. That one thing can affect how you think about everything. And so you might want to quit your job, but what's the real reason? What's really going on there? And so I turn into an investigator. And what I do is I work on two things. I work on the problem that you think is the problem, and then I work on finding the real problem and fixing that real problem. It's easy to understand it in the context of our physical body, because when someone says, oh, I have this physical thing going on, I have pain here, or this health issue going on, usually the health issue is caused by some sort of stress. Now, we have to address the stress, plus we also have to address the physical problem. If you don't address both, then you'll deal with the physical problem and then another problem will come forth. And then you fix that one and another problem comes forth because you haven't really dealt with the real problem, which is always, always, always a problem in our mind, in the way we think and process the world around us. It's a processing problem. And so...
Yeah. Okay, so I understand that part. I understand that, just because I'm not happy with this, right? But at the same time, I understand that most of the time, it's not just this that you're unhappy with. Mm-hmm. Usually there's something more deeper that probably doesn't even have anything to do with, for example, my job, right? It's yeah, so I get that part, but so what steps do you have to take in order for you to find what the real problem is? It's not do you use hypnotism? Do you just ask questions? Are there modalities that you use on your clients to help them realize what's really going on?
Well, here's the thing. I am NLP certified and I'm well versed with hypnosis, but hypnosis is not what I use anymore. It was there a long time ago. It's part of my journey. I have my own tools that are based on my understanding of how the law of attraction works. And I use those tools and those exercises, take the client through them, and as a result, arrive at what needs to be done and what needs to be figured out. And it's complicated in a sense that every person is different and every person has different priorities. So if you've had enough with this job, let's say that you just can't stand going to work for one more day, then I'm going to sit down with you and help you plan a way out. What I will do is to calm you down enough so that you don't pull the plug right away without looking after the consequences that might be a result of just pulling the plug. So it's a combination. If we are going to take action, we've got to understand, is it really time to act, or is it time to use other ways of fixing the situation? And sometimes the situation is fixable. We can salvage it. I had a client couple of years ago, and she was in that place where she came to me and she wanted to quit her job. And she is still 5, 6 years later, she's still in that job. In fact, she's been promoted a couple of times and she's very happy now where she is. And when she came, she was so ready to just throw in the towel because there was this one manager that she couldn't deal with. She felt she was picked on. She felt she wasn't heard. She felt like, I've had enough. And I said to her, if we change the way we see this situation, one of two things will happen. Either this boss will change and you'll have a different boss, or you'll find another job. So then we worked on her vibration and the way she was thinking about the situation to calm her down. Because unless you calm down, you can't see clearly. When people are stressed, something can be under your nose. Has it ever happened to you that you lose your keys and they're right under your nose, but you're so stressed you can't find them?
Oh,
right?
Yes,
Or
that's
glasses.
To me
I do it with
times.
my glasses. Yeah, and I do it with my
phone.
glasses.
Where's my phone?
I know. And then you get all stressed and you can't see it. You know what I do is when I'm looking for something and I can't see it, I either call one of my children or I call my assistant to come and look for it because they're not stressed, so they can find it. I'm stressed, so I won't be able to see it even though it's right there. So the very first thing I do with my clients is to help them find a way to just let go the anxiety that is connected to the situation that they're facing. It could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be anything. First, let go of the stress, because when you let go of the stress, now you are able to see the avenues that are available to you. And those avenues are different for every person. It's never the same thing. In 15 years of doing this work, I've never seen two people who get the exact same answers. It's always different. It has to do with the person. And that's why I don't have a cookie cutter approach to things. I believe in and I help people find their own solution. That's right for them. That's right for their situation. That's right for who they are. It's right for their stage in life. It's right for their money situation. It's right for their emotional situation. And it's always different. And so it is a process, but I don't use the traditional tools that are out there that a lot of people use. Over the years, I've developed my own tools to take a client through that journey.
Yeah, that's good to know because, you know, I mean, in the end, we all want to know that we are unique, right? So it's good that we have that option of learning our way, what's going to work for me. I don't care what everyone else is doing. I want to know what works for me.
Yes, exactly. And it gives you more control and it gives you more confidence and it makes you feel like, you know, you are at the center of the solution, and that's how it should be.
Right. So is it a long process when you work with clients to, you know,
not
find their No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. It depends on the client. Again, it's because it's not cookie cutter. It just depends on the client. But what I suggest is, so there are two things I do. I have a group coaching program, and then I do individual one-on-one coaching as well. And of course, I have a series of online courses that they're self-serve, and people can sign up and take those courses on their own. But I recommend giving it at least a couple of months. It's not magic because we are so emotionally involved in our situation that it's like a extremely tangled box of twine, you know. Like I'm very fond of embroidery, and my embroidery threads if I don't pay attention, they get all mixed up. And so everything's mixed up in our lives, and we really need to untangle all of that. And so for some people, it's really quick. They get it, and off they go. And some people, it takes time. I've had all sorts of situations happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And so do you
I've
think
had people
that
who change. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you think that the more open a client is to reaching that goal and taking whatever steps are going to be necessary, the easier it is? Like some people are like, okay, I know you can help me, but I'm not willing to do this, this, and this. But if I come in and I say, okay, I'll do whatever you say I have to do, right? It's obviously going to work a little bit quicker for me than someone who's not willing. Okay, so you kind of have to know that there is something holding you back.
Yes, and you have to be prepared to you have to be open enough to look at things in a different way. Absolutely. It does depend on how open you are. It also depends on your openness to learning, and it also depends on your journey. You know, what have you learned so far, and how willing are you to learn a different way of doing things? So people can have amazing results in just a month, and some people need a year. But it doesn't matter, because you will always be further ahead than where you were when you started, because that is a commitment I make to myself. Whenever I sit down with a client, my intention and my attention is on moving them forward. And if you move forward, you are making a difference. So it's not about perfection. It's about progress. If you're making progress, you're doing really well. And it's about how fast do you want to make progress. I know I've immersed myself at times in learning how things work, and I've moved the needles in my own life more than other people in the same or similar circumstances, only because I made the effort to immerse myself, to apply myself. And at the end of the day, you've got to take action. You've got to use what you're learning. If you're just learning and not using it, nothing is going to change.
Right. I get that. And that's when that quote, a goal is just a dream until you take action, right? That's kind of what the whole premise of the law of attraction is. Like there's nothing wrong with wanting something, but if you're not going to work towards it, you're not going to get it. Like, so law of attraction is not a magic pill that we can, I'm using law of attraction because I want that, right? And I'm telling myself I'm going to get that. You still have to do the work.
Yes. Yes, right. You still have to do the work. The thing is, if you think a certain way about your goal, you can minimize effort and struggle. Things can be easier if you understand law of attraction and you apply law of attraction, the thinking philosophy, then the action part becomes much easier. And that's why I think people gravitate towards using law of attraction. Once you start understanding how it works, your life becomes so much easier, so much smoother. You have so much peace inside you because you know how things will work out. You're not guessing. You're not stressed because you don't know what's going to happen next. And I think that's the real magic.
I love that. I love that. If you were, so right now, what can you tell all of our listeners as a little mini bite or step towards law of attraction that you could tell anybody to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, what's the smallest bit of advice you could give to our listeners?
I have two. And so the first one is every thought is a prayer and every prayer is answered. That's number one. People think that I need to ask with my words and I sit down and I journal and that's when I'm asking no. Every thought you think is a vibration that you're sending out into the universe. And if you're not aware of what you're sending out to the universe, it's like placing an order to a restaurant that you are not aware that you placed an order, and things arrive and you say, I didn't order this disgusting thing. Why is it here? Well, it's because you were dialing the number, you just didn't know it. So every thought, every single thought counts. Every single thought is a signal that you're sending. It's like dialing the phone, calling the universe and asking for something. Every single thought. And so that's my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice is there's a difference between intention and attention. And if you don't understand the difference, then you will create haphazard results. And for anyone who wants more information on that, head over to my YouTube channel. There's a video on my YouTube channel called The Universe Ignores Good Intentions. And that video will help you to understand why it is so important to close the gap between intention and attention.
Thank you so much for that. That was so perfect.
You are most welcome. I can talk about this stuff without going to the bathroom for many days straight.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, well, I would imagine, because it's going to be different for everyone, right? It's going to be different for everyone. And I liked how you said earlier, we don't strive for perfection, right? But this is all part of our growth, our personal development.
Yes. And so I find that people do want the perfect result, and they want it right now, this minute. But it's going to take work, sweetheart. It's going to take for you to show up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so it depends on who you show up as, right? I mean, showing up doesn't mean, okay, I'm here, give me what I asked for. Showing up means show up as
being
the
open.
Person who, right, and as the person who
being
wants
open.
This, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I think everyone wants change. Oh, you're so welcome. Loved it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, everyone does love change. You're absolutely right. But not everybody knows how to make it.
Exactly. That's what we teach.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you gave us your YouTube channel. Listeners are more than welcome to reach out to you, and I hope they all do. Thank you again for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Confidence in Bloom is a celebration of self-love, a confirmation that even though you may not look like a screen star or a supermodel, they don't even look like that. You are an amazing, desirable, brilliant, gorgeous, talented woman. We offer unconditional love to our partners, our children, our extended family, even our pets. It's high time we got out of our own way and learned to unconditionally love ourselves. My business, In Full Bloom Success Styling, offers an online course combined with one-to-one coaching in confidence building, personal branding, and creating your signature fashion look. Chic definitely does come in every shape, so if you want something to believe in, start with yourself. If you'd like to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom, contact me through Instagram at InFullBloomStyling or by email at tina@infobloomstyling.com or through the Divas That Care website.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.